It's you. Right.
Yes. No. Wow, I was treating this like the after show. What's popping? Welcome to Nicky and Moose. I'm Nicky. That's Moose. What's up, Moose?
What up, y'all?
And welcome to the live show, which I felt like was the after show vibes. I don't know what's going on, but hey, we're here now. Do me a favor. If you're watching this right now, whether it is live or replay, please hit that like, right? Hit that like. Please, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. This may be your first time here. So watch this for a little bit and then subscribe. If we add any kind of value, please do that, right? Episode 174 dropped today. And my lovely dog just came upstairs. I don't even know how he got here because it's extremely blocked off. Extremely. So I may be stressed. And you may see him because I really don't know how he got here. So go check out that episode. The audio is out Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern. The video drops. But Moose, how are we feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, man. Things are smooth sailing on this side. I am running solo for the next couple of days. I dropped the fam off. They're actually down in Florida for the next little bit. So they'll be back at the end of the week. Yeah, so it's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna have to be solo dad out here. So other than that, things are smooth though, man.
Well, you have the baby, or
I got no baby.
Okay. I was like, you're here. You said solo dad, so I was like, so you got the baby?
Okay, yeah. No, I mean, no. Next week, though, actually, it's funny enough, my wife is going away next week, and she'll leave the baby behind. So I will be an official solo dad, but I'll have some help for sure. I'm not gonna embark on that journey by myself. But yeah. So it's like bittersweet. I think that's the best way to say it, right? It's like bitter in the sense, like, dang, I kind of missed them, and then kind of sweet, like, yo, I'm out here just flying away at my to-do list like I haven't had that type of flexibility in a minute. So it's kind of nice. I ain't even gonna lie. So yeah, it's been cool, man. I can't complain.
Okay. All right. Out here by yourself, don't know what to do.
Seriously.
I like this. Seriously. I like this for you. I like this.
Yeah. I may step away in a couple minutes. I ordered pizza, so when the pizza comes, I just want to get it through the door. I'm just laying all let it all about life.
Yo, what is this dog doing?
He is here.
What just happened? What? I'm putting you. Hold on.
I figured that might be.
I don't even know what this.
He just might be. Wow.
But he's sitting right there. He's not even moving. That's the weird part about this. So, okay, all right, hold on. This is
shout out to the tech issues.
This is what you're gonna do right now.
This has happened to me so many times, and if y'all have been tuned in, you already know. Usually,
talk to them for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm usually the one on the side of Isaiah said, "Get the dang dog." I'm usually the one who's having the tech issues. That camera has blacked out on me multiple times, but I'm sure Nick will get it straightened out. We got a really important topic for tonight, though. I want to make sure you guys tap in with that. In the meantime, I'm going to make sure, shout out to the OGs who've been around and have heard me make some bundles or what's it called? Like just messing up around certain words. But do me a favor, drop where you're checking in from while we get Nicky back here and rolling. I want to talk tonight, and we're going to cover this topic, which I think is super important, about how to optimize and structure your community and or program for success. All right. We've covered, if you've heard this week's episode, then we talked about the importance of community, or that was a big element of the show. And so I want to talk on it from a different angle today to really help set us up So yeah, tap in with me with that as we get it going, and we're gonna kick this party off right. Isaiah said, "Let's rate Nicky and Moose's parenting skills." I'm pretty good, Zay. I'm pretty good, man. I'm 10 months in the game, and no major blunders just yet. And I think Nicky's doing all right. But let's see. We got, oh, there it is. That's what I meant to say. Arizona, LA, and Ohio.
How?
And Nick's is back.
No, I'm not.
Oh.
No, I'm not.
Yeah?
My camera's doing something crazy. Okay, keep going.
Okay. It looked like you got two different cameras on or something, because
that's what I'm saying. And what is it doing?
One look to another look, which is super interesting.
It's
but
very
in the
weird.
meantime, oh, now you're back.
I don't trust it. We going. I don't trust it. I don't trust it. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if this is an eCam thing or if it's a camera thing. Are we good? I don't know.
I think we're good.
Okay. All right.
I think we're good.
We're just gonna hope so. So.
I think we're good. Well, let's get into it before any other tech issues resume. But no, I was just saying we talked about communities. That was a major part of the episode that just came out today. But I want to talk about it from a different angle and really setting up and optimizing your community for success. Now, one of the things people may not realize is that inside of a community, there are real people who have real needs, who have real challenges, who also are going to express their opinion, and it may not always be positive, right? And so while in theory, we see this as a tangible business opportunity for an online business brand to expand and make use of the digital economy, but at the same time, you got to really prepare yourself for, all right, how do I set myself up for success in that space? Because on the other side, and we always talk about it in the world of social, like, hey, on the other side of your camera, there are people, but inside of your community, granted, although it's digital and you may have some, live meetups with them, but those are real people there. And you want to be able to, navigate that space with some real intention to get the best results. So, Nix, if you could kick us off and just maybe share your experience or maybe just like some quick lessons that you've gathered from leading a community online, and then we'll start really breaking this thing down for how people should think about it, what people should do before starting the community, and then what they should do after the community is up and running, where there are, some needs as the camera goes yada bing right now.
This is okay. Set it up a little bit more. I'm gonna check one more thing because this is special. So hold on.
I love it. Yeah, and real quick in the comments, let me just get an idea. Can you put a 1 in the comments or in the chat if you have a community, and put a 2 if you're thinking about creating one? I'm just curious. I want to get an idea. So like if you already have one that's a part of your offers or your brand online already, and it could be free or paid, it doesn't matter. I just want to get a sense of who has already a community in place and who is still thinking about or considering having a community as part of their, revenue streams or as part of just an extension of their brand in general. I think either of those is important. I know Nix, of course, has deeper than the brand. I'm involved pretty heavily with extreme execution. So we got a couple things in place. Oh, and I like that. 3, I am a part of one. That's a good one. That's a good way to say it too. That's another perspective. But yeah, Nix, what would you say on that, just as it relates to some of your biggest lessons from leading a community over how many years now? Probably like a good bit,
Very
right?
long time. Very long time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we go a couple of ways. Are we going positive? We going negative? Where are we going first with this?
Yeah, let's go positive first. I definitely want to cover the negative though, because I know that's one of the things that are not talked about, and I want people to prepare and hopefully avoid any of the challenges that come from that as well.
So, positive things about running a community and and things that I've learned. One, people will actually join your community. Regardless of what you believe the stage that you're in, people will actually join your community. I created one yesterday on live, just wanted to test school out, right? And people joined. Like,
Wow.
let's do it together, right? Now, granted, it was a small group, and so it was about like 5-6 people that joined, but out of nowhere, me being like, yo, let me try this. Let's all join this community. They joined, and they were like, yo, let's figure out school together. People will join your community regardless of the reasons of why you started it. For me, I started that one that I did yesterday in school just to test out school. Other people were like, yeah, let me help you out. I started Deeper Than the Brand because I wanted other people to feel safe and seen as they started out their content journey, as they started out growing their brand and trying to figure out how to stay consistent, how to build a community, how to monetize and things like that. And people started to come through, right? So people will come. That's one thing. 2, engagement is important, but do not kick yourself in the butt if there isn't any. Let me break this down. So I'm realizing, based off my own habits, right, as I'm in other communities, I'm not necessarily watching all the videos. I'm not always posting every single solitary time, but I'm gaining so much information, so much support, and so much knowledge from these different communities that I don't always feel like I have to do the social part. Meaning, there are people who are probably going to join your community and will get everything they needed in 1 or 2 videos. That's it. That's all I needed. I got all my information right here. There's a lot of different courses and different communities that I'm in that I've probably watched a few things and I've gained so much knowledge from it. So when we're growing our own communities, though we would love everybody if we have, let's say, 10 videos part of our community, like I'm giving you exclusive content all the time, and they're not watching it, some of them are just okay being part of the community. Some people are just okay reading other people's posts. Now, there's other extremely engaged people in your community, and they are pretty much the heart of your community. You acknowledge them, you support them, you shout them out to the world because they actually bring a heartbeat to your community. But don't go in your head like, yo, my community they're not responding, they're not saying anything, they're not doing anything. It all depends on what was their reason of coming inside of the community. If you didn't set up any calls for them to engage, any different events for them to engage, all you doing is maybe polls, they're not always going to engage, and that's okay. That doesn't mean they're not there, they're not active, and they're not getting any type of value. Because I used to kick myself in the butt like, yo, we did all these videos, and like they're only at 20%.
Yeah.
What's the point? Why are you? But then I remember every single time I go outside, it's like, yo, I'm part of Deeper Than the Brand. And they were proud. Like, yo, I'm part of Deeper Than the Brand. Yo, can I take a picture? Da, 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 da. Some people just want to feel accepted. Some people just want to be around other people who are doing the same things. Just because you want them to watch a video, you want them to post every single day, doesn't mean that's what they're going to do, but it doesn't devalue your efforts or the importance of your community. So that's another one. And a quick lesson
Oh,
is,
talk real quick. Yeah.
okay, here's pizza. He got pizza. let me go like this real quick. Another lesson that I learned is that, and I got this, let's say, advice early when dealing with building a community. Because at first, and shout out to everybody who is a day one from like beast mode days, right? And I created a Facebook group. Then I went into Mighty Networks, and my thought process was, okay, build a community, bring everybody together, and everybody's going to everybody's going to rock with each other. You don't even have to do much, right? You pop in once in a while, da 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 da. Come to find out, that's not how this works, right? There has to be activities. There has to be a community manager. There has to be, or you have to play as a community manager until you have a community manager, right? There has to be reasons for people to come into the community, not just, hey, we have a community, come in, and there's all these people, but there's nothing there really for them, right? So I built it. You said put them in one spot. I put them in one spot, but I didn't engage as much as I should have in the beginning. To now we have a schedule of, these are the like Monday through Saturday. Well, actually Monday through Sunday, we have a daily theme. We have a monthly theme. We have challenges. We have live live workshops every month, and it all depends on the different tiers that you're on, right? But like our elite circle, they have co-working spaces. They have access to all the live workshops and challenges. They have accountability calls. They have a mastermind at the end, right? The middle tier, which is the experience, we got live workshops, we got challenges, and they're part of the Friday Night Live. Even if you're a beginner, you get Friday Night Lives, you get Welcome Wednesdays, you get Tip Tuesdays. There's something for everybody, but just because you have people in the community, they're not always going to know to interact with each other or what to interact with. When you create different themes and different days for them, they know how to react. So if you're saying Welcome Wednesdays, welcome all the new people, then your existing people are going to welcome new people. But if you're saying, hey, we're just here, then it's like, well, then I'm just here too. And if somebody talks to me, I'll talk to them. But if not, I'm not going to talk to them. So yeah. Oh, you're muted, I think. You muted yourself.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I love the activity calendar to, really call out the things that you want to see happen. So if you want an engagement day, or you want a welcome day, or you want a community day, label that as one of the days of your week so that people can start to get into the rhythm and the program. And you're right, because, everyone is going to have their own behaviors when they go into a community, and they may not always be in line with what we hope people will do within our own communities. Like I got to say, and I'm not, this is by no means something that is intended to discourage people from creating a community or joining a community. But, I know for sure one of the things that I've always wrestled with is, man, I can't believe all these videos and resources are in place for people, but all the questions that we get are in the videos. Like if you watch the videos, you would not have to, you wouldn't have half the questions that you have. But sure enough, that is part of the process. And that's the learning curve. Like one of the things that I have really made a goal of mine and been super intentional about over the last 6 months or so is to how to essentially make changes to our community so that it can tailor and meet people who are at different levels, who also joined at different periods, right? Because if you have a community that is an open enrollment. And for those of you, again, thinking about that process and saying, yeah, I want to consider creating a community and making that as part of my brand or my presence online, you have to ask yourself, is this something that's going to be open-ended and open enrollment, meaning people can join at any time and they can stay as long as they want? Is it something that's going to be a limited, more of a curriculum/semester type of run, where people are going to have to enter in a given time period and they're going to exit or graduate to the next level at another time period? These are all things that can impact engagement when you're talking about online communities. All right. Those are all very, important things to consider. And shout out to the chat for talking about the LA hat. Yeah, I just picked it up last week. I said, I got to represent both coasts. Like I'm realizing,
Look at you.
I got to represent both sides. Still a Yankee fan for sure, 100%, but definitely more open to the idea of being, both sides of the country.
Look at you. Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
And blue
That's
looks
it.
good on you.
Thank you. I figured you might like this color. The Nipsey blue.
I do.
The Nipsey LA blue.
I like it on you.
Good stuff. Let's go into the planning phase of this. Okay, I've decided to launch a community. I think this is what I want to do. How can people start thinking about putting it together and essentially putting it out, for people to enroll and engage in? Because, I saw a clip of B. Simone yesterday, actually, where she was saying she uses her close friends as her community and she generates X amount of dollars as a result of that.
Yep.
And while it was a manual process, that was something that worked out for her. So you hear a lot of different people using a lot of different ways. I mean, on another example, Patreon is an example of our podcast community as well. So there's a lot of different platforms and a lot of different ways to go about it. But what would you say in the beginning stages of this all are the things that someone should consider before jumping into the community world?
Well, there's a few. So one, we got to think about the starting point. So what is the purpose of the community, right? What are you trying to do? What is the transformation or the support that you're trying to give to the people, right? So understanding your big purpose. The second thing is but picking a platform, right? Once you understand the big purpose, you kind of see where you are trying to take the community probably in 5 years, 10 years, however you go about it. You're not necessarily thinking about just this year. Well, you shouldn't, at least. So now you're looking at a platform that will allow you to scale your community, not just for the right now, because what you're going to do when you are just thinking about the right now is you're going to probably be switching platforms from one spot to another spot to another spot, just because you didn't sit and think about where does my community need to go and what are the features that I'm going to need in order to scale and create a impactful community. So paying attention to the platforms are going to be very, very crucial. So on that same topic, the platforms you should consider is, well, I'll go from like free to paid, right? So Facebook groups is one of those things. WhatsApp, Telegram is those free tools. Discord is another free tool for community. But then you get into the paid versions where, well, like we talked about on the episode, we got School, that's just brand new, right? You got Mighty Networks, which is what Deeper Than the Brand is on. Circle, which is where my mastermind elite circle members are on. And I believe Kajabi has a membership one as well. So you're looking at all these different platforms and you're going, where do I see my members? What are some of the features that is important to me? Like for me, live videos are important to me. If a platform can't do that, I'm not even looking at it, right? Uploading certain amount of videos, that's important to me, right? Gamification is starting to become very important to me. So you got to look at all the things that you want and see what are the best platform to do so, because you may be looking at the monthly fees, like a majority of the ones that have a good amount of features are probably going to start at $100 a month. How many members do you need in order to take care of that expense, right? You shouldn't have to pay that fee out of pocket for too long. So if it is a paid one, you're looking at, okay, how much is the paid joints? Am I charging upfront, and how many members do I need to have to cover that? Or is it a back end thing? I'm bringing everybody in for free, but what is the products or the services that I'm selling that then it all makes sense and evens out, right? So the platform is very important, and a launch strategy is very, very important when you are letting people know about your community. Just like a different product or a service, you're creating a launch strategy that will get people excited, hyped up, and informed about what the community is about. And then when it is launched, you're going to have to make sure people see inside of the community as much as they can for them to understand. Because just because you say I got a community, that's like, great. What's in it? What do y'all do? Why do I need to be in there? And you need to create those different pieces of content or those experiences that makes them understand I need to be part of the community. So I've been rambling, but that's
good.
Something.
No, that's good. That's definitely a good decision. And I love that you brought the financial piece into it too. Like, hey, is this something that's going to cost you something? Is it something that is free that you can, use however which way? So that's great insight. One of the suggestions that I would make is that you begin to think about what is going to be the main pillars that you're going to cover. So let me tell you one of the mistakes that we made early on within the extreme execution or flight assessment community. We would pick our topics on a week by week basis. We would wake up and we would just say, you know what? I think it makes sense to go with this topic. This topic is pretty dope. I like this topic. Yeah, I have something to say about this. I'm gonna go with this topic. And sure, in the beginning, that makes a lot of sense. It works for you because it's new, it's exciting, you have a lot to talk about. People are asking a lot of questions, they're engaging. So if you have that type of community, it's very lucrative. It's very easy to come up with topics. But the minute you pass 2 years, 3 years, man, the minute you pass 4 years, it becomes very difficult to come up with topics. Reason being is because you've been doing it for a very long time. You feel in your own mind that you've covered a lot of the different topics on a lot of different levels. And quite frankly, a lot of us begin to lose passion or connection with some of the things that we covered in the early days. And so the thing that we did this year that has been incredibly helpful is we called out pillars that we want to cover week to week. So if you think about your main product, your core offer, just what you want your brand to represent or what you do represent within your brand, I bet you can find 4 subtopics, right? Especially if it's a weekly meeting, maybe you guys meet twice a month instead of 4 times a month or once a month, however your meeting frequency is, you can pick out your pillars so that you can know, okay, on the first meeting of the month, we're going to cover this topic. So for example, we go the art of coaching as week 1. We go business development week 2. Week 3 is a working session. It's a co-working space, like you said, where we go back and say, here's what we've covered in the last 2 weeks. Here are some exercises and activities where you can actually apply. Now, let me tell you even how we came across that, right? And this is where engaging with your people is super helpful. We did a poll and realized that only about 70 or 80% of the people in the community are, or I should say only 20 or 30% of the people in the community are full-time entrepreneurs. The rest are still in transition or full-time, 9 to 5, which is totally fine. But what that means is the hour that they dedicate on the call, it can be so useful for them to actually do the work. So when you create the space, you allow people to come in and you give them the instruction and the guidance to apply what they've learned over the last couple of weeks. That has been super helpful. So that has become week 3. And then week 4 has been personal development. So as you can see now, when we're planning out topics or we're talking about who should cover the call or who can carry out and lead a call, it's just easy to attach it and follow your pillars. Some people call it a curriculum, whatever makes sense in your mind. But I will tell you, communities can become very dreading if you're constantly having to think about the content. For some people, content creation is super easy. You have no issues with topics. But for others, like I said, that could be a bit of a drag. So I will say once that part is set up, utilizing a platform standpoint, next thing you want to start to think about are your pillars, your curriculum, the structure and the call format of how you want to roll it out so that now it's a consistent value add where members don't ever at any point come and say, I'm not learning anymore. Because this is where it can dip into, the negative piece of it. And maybe we could talk to that real quick, Nix. But when we talk about monthly reoccurring revenue, as you know, that was a major theme on this week's episode. You can't have monthly reoccurring revenue if you're constantly losing members every month. And again, this is for a paid community. All right. So if people are canceling their memberships or leaving your community, your reoccurring revenue is essentially stagnant or declining because you're having low retention rates. So yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things that I would say has been so helpful for us the last, 6 months to a year or so.
That's good. The fact that you started to really know who's in your community to better tailor it is, that takes it to a whole nother level. I'm seeing some questions early. Aaron's like, do you like Patreon or Circle better, Nicky? Circle from a simple standpoint of community basis, right? So Patreon is literally to give exclusive content. It has a chat, it's cool, but it's really there to just kind of continue to give extra content for the people who love us, people who want to support us. It's literally Patreons. But Circle has way more features as far as different spaces, different, live stream features, audios, that whole nine. So from a business standpoint, to build a business out of a community, you're probably going to want to go more with Circle than necessarily Patreon. Patreon's literally people who support what you're doing. Slight plug, patreon.com/Nicky and Moose. If you support the podcast, if you rock with us and you want to continue to see the podcast do what it do, patreon.com/Nicky and Moose. It's $4 a month. That's 13 cents a day. You can just start there and rock with us. But then some people were asking, where did I see it? I saw the Mighty Networks and Circle. So this is a really good battle right here. Curious of why I like Mighty Networks and looking at them. Curious to know why have Mighty Networks and Circle. So this is I like testing out different platforms, right? I like to see what's best. But also with with our mastermind, Elite Circle, I wanted to create a different environment for them so they know they're away from the not the social media noise, but they're away from the distractions because we have specific things for them to do. And I don't want them to get caught up in anything else but just that, right? So that's why I said, like, we have co-working spaces over there. We have accountability calls where it's actually inside of Circle, and you don't necessarily have to do Zoom or any other third-party situations. It's all within in that platform. So that's why I have 2. Well, technically I have 3 because I have school right now just testing that out. But I'm a tester. I can't necessarily teach about communities and which one's good or not if I'm not testing all these out. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's talk about the not so good things to look out for in the community, unhappy members, disengaged members, negative feedback about your program and or curriculum. I think you and I have had discussions about how to handle definitely all three of those.
Yeah.
So I'm curious your upgraded take on it, and I'll definitely add my spin to it as well.
So you're not going to make everybody happy. And there are people who come into different programs or communities and they envision certain things. And when they come into the community, they don't get what they envision. Now, some people, and this is why it's important on messaging and how you promoting your stuff, but some people make up their own stories of what they thought it was, right? And I'm big on please refund them and make sure they're good, right? Like I'm not trying to chase people, nor am I trying to keep people who are not extremely happy, because if they're not happy, then all they're going to do is dog your stuff out anyways, right? I'd rather people who come into the community like it there, feel comfortable. That there was somebody who was like, who came in and was like, oh, it's too much text going on. I just thought it was going to be videos. I want out. I'm like, did you go through the videos? You know what? You're right. No problem. We'll refund you. No worries, right? As far as negative feedback, I mean, like I said, it just goes back to I can't make everybody happy. If majority of the people are happy and we have one or two people that aren't happy, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm not going to change everything or anything like that. I'm going to stick with majority wins, and I'm going to listen to their feedback and see if it makes sense. Have I made some changes based off some negative feedback? Absolutely. Because when I look at it, it did make sense. Like, you know what? You're right. I'm not gonna hold you. Let's fix that. Now, how quickly I fixed it, well, that's a different story. I didn't run to it and then go back to the person. Do you like it? Do you like it now? No, I didn't do all that. But I looked at different ways of how to make this right. Is it going to give a better experience for the community? If it doesn't, I don't care. If it does, let's try it. Why not? Now, our community is big on hearing people's feedback, right? So it's very open of anybody can be like, yo, I think this should be like this. I think this should be like that. And I take all feedback. Appreciate you, because you could be very quiet. You could say nothing. You could be talking behind our backs and just trashing the community. The fact that you're coming up to us and you're saying these things of what can improve, what it can't. Like I already told them this week, yo, I'm going to put in the community. What do you think about the community? What can change? What do you personally need? I need y'all to give me the feedback. Why? Because we need the data to improve and get to the next level, right? So by doing that, it actually dims down the negative feedback, because they're now feeling involved as far as saying, yo, okay, I'm gonna be part of building this. This is going to be kind of catered to me. And that's how we've always been, as far as like, yo, I'm not creating based off what I think you need, because then you'll get disengaged. Then you'll leave. Then like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to make sure from beginning to middle to advance, I get everything that you need. From the top, we made sure that we got those certain things. Now we're focusing on the middle piece and the beginner piece, right? We have more, we bring people in because of certain leads. Now I want to make sure that even in the beginning, you're not just treated as, hey, you came in through AI Toolkit, now you're done. It's like, hey, AI Toolkit is the start. Now you're going on a journey, right? But I'm gonna need feedback to hear what's going on. So yeah, I'm all about grabbing feedback, good, bad, and different, but creating a space that they can say whatever they want and they're heard. Whereas maybe other places, it's almost forced that they say it because no one's paying attention to them. No one's asking them what it is. And so they'll just, this is trash. Okay, hold on. I'm here. What's up? Oh, wait, you're talking to me. Oh, no, I love you, Nicky. I mean, I'm not even using it right now. I'm just not using it. So, all right, no doubt. You're not using it. No worries. We'll cancel it. Oh, appreciate you. This is why I rock with you. See?
Yeah, no, for sure. We definitely have, I echo that mentality of like, hey, we don't want to force you to stay if you no longer want to stay. If you no longer want to stay, let's part as friends. I think that's fair. But, one of the things that has also really helped us is showing an example of what growth can look like by using members in the community. Now, I'm not just saying highlighting success stories and showing, hey, this person has done the following 1, 2, 3. I think sometimes people like to see examples of leadership growth, of overcoming fears and, worries and anxiety growth. So for us, one of the things that we've done, and by the way, this has helped from a community standpoint as well as a recognition standpoint, is we have allowed certain members to take on leadership responsibilities in how the community is ran. So similar to what you said, Nix, but even going to the extent of saying, hey, we want members that can host calls. We want members that can help in the planning of the calls. We want members who essentially come on as like an advisory board to the community so that we can build with your voice absolutely attached. Now, as other people join, they see like, hey, I was once where you were. And yes, I have gone through, the experience, but I have also gotten to a point that I can contribute, because you got to remember, people have different love languages. People have different motivations and desires. In a lot of cases, or in most cases, let's say someone is purely motivated to, hey, what's in it for me? But that may not always be a monetary gain or some form of metric that they, want to essentially highlight. But so other people are like, hey, I just want to be able to help, or I want to contribute to what you all are building. So that has been a twofold, almost, what's the word? Like a twofold benefit, because it's done improvements for the community, like listening to these people. Like I have a group that has helped significantly. And shout out to Ash, Ashling, Derek, Bree Jack. These are people who have gone on and they've done everything from scheduling calls, hosting calls, to planning calls, to like carrying the full responsibility and length of it. And I've seen more and more people get engaged because they see the growth and the progression. And then essentially it's bringing their voices back into the mix to say, all right, here's what I wish was different for me when I started. So that's a different perspective too, that added to it. So I will say, from time to time, if you see some members who are engaged and willing to contribute, give them an opportunity to jump on to the platform and really help almost mold the community with you, because that's what it is, right? It's like, it's a full team mission, to help get it on the other side.
So I got a question for you. So, what is the balance in your community of community members running it and then like the actual team running it?
Yeah. So right now it's about, I want to say maybe like 80-20, right? In terms of like the actual content and material, it's still coming from, let's call them official team members. But once in a while, and we were a lot more open at one period just because we felt there were a lot of people who got to a point in their career in the community who were like, hey, I have something to say. I want to teach. Like, I'm tired of just sitting here listening all the time. I got something to say. So I was like, hey, I don't mind it. Come on up here. and share your insight. It gives you an opportunity to practice your pitch and your presentation. And at the same time, it gives opportunity for community members to see what you're about, learn about your business. It's like almost promo with practice mixed all together. I think that is another great community benefit. So we did that for a while. And then as things started to, water down, as we adjusted the format to go back to, all right, team-led trainings for the most part, but we will consider certain people if the needs that were brought forth are a perfect fit for a community member. So it's like if I'm in a community with Nicky, and then let's say you're not a quote unquote official member or official team member, but someone says, hey, we need someone to talk on content. It's like, okay, sure, we can try our best at team members to do it, but it's like it would be a no-brainer to ask this specific member, in this case, Nicky, to talk on that content. So that's been more so the balance as of late. Than just, allowing community members to essentially host a call, because that doesn't make sense either, right? Especially for paid communities, it's like you get to a point where if you do it that way all the time, people are paying to teach for an opportunity to teach, where you don't want that either. So, there are different seasons that we have gone through. If you think about it, Extreme Execution has been up since 2019. So November of this year will make 5 years, which is crazy to think about. There's been a lot of different phases and all that. But I think the one that's in place now has been the best format as of late, because it really takes projecting, like, thinking of where we are going 3, 4, 5, 6 months into the future, and then coming back to help them build up to that. So over time, people are noticing the pattern of what's happening. So, because that was like I said, that for me is still always going to be the challenge, getting people in times of when they feel ready, when they first come in. Someone might be with you. Like we have sometimes members who might be with you for a long period of time, but they enter a season where they just feel that they're ready now. So you have someone who's there, 6 months, a year and a half, 2 years, but they just get to the point where they're like, all right, fine, I'm ready to take action now. And how do you still welcome them with open arms and say, hey, I'm here for you. Come on, we believe in you, et cetera. Because I think that is a part of it too. Like the community aspect, I think the best communities do two things. They help to guide you.
Yep.
Like walk with you. They hold your hand and they make you feel, like you said, safe and heard and understood. And then the other side is they push you a little bit too. Like they push you to your limits or push you outside of your comfort zone. You need a little bit of both. And I noticed that anytime we enter a season of doing just one over the other, things get out of whack at some point. Like people be like, okay, I love this aggressive drive. And then at some point they're like, okay, no, but you're not listening to me. You're just like pushing me to nowhere. So I've noticed that balance has been super helpful to keep people locked in as well throughout the full dialogue.
I like that.
Yeah, I do want to go back, and this is slightly out of order, but I do want to go back to the part of you said, opening the doors to allow people to see what's happening inside of the community so that you can continue to get more people's interest in joining, right? That's a big part. And again, I'm making emphasis on this because you can't have monthly reoccurring revenue without some of these aspects, right? Retention, new growth. It's funny, we were on this a meeting, I'll just say a meeting yesterday, and it was a software company that was explaining to us their growth process. And they were talking about evaluations and how growth is looked at in the eyes of investors, right? And they were saying, or let's just call it different metrics are looked at in the business in the eyes of investors. And the CEO said, believe it or not, in the software space, growth is more important than profit. And it's like, for at least to my business training and a lot of other people, you wouldn't think about it that way, right? Now, I can't tell you that that's the exact translation for online and digital communities, but it does go to show that you also have to put emphasis on your rate of growth, not just your profitability. when building this thing. So that's why I'm mentioning these terms like retention and growth, et cetera. So to that point, Nick, you mentioned the idea of opening the doors even after your launch so that more people can join and you can grow the community. I just want you to kind of expand on that a little bit in terms of like the how, to do that.
Yes, the fact that you said that bar about the growth is important, because you got to think about it like this. Yes, so it also depends on the goal, right? Some people are definitely like, okay, I have this community to make this amount of money. I can charge $297 a month. I was looking at school yesterday, $297 a month. Somebody has 93 members, and they're probably happy. Outside looking in, perception, 93 members, well, that's nothing, right?
Yeah.
To some. Well, you add that up, I think that was like $22K a month.
That's solid.
Right. So that's where you get really specific with, we're trying to grow this, that, and the third, right? But when you are growing a community, it sounds different when you say, I have 6,000 members in Deeper Than the Brand, right? It makes people look at your community in a more serious way, right? And so we've done multiple ways of bringing people in, whether it is subscription based first, from a low tier, like something that you will forget about, that people are still paying for today, to a one-time situation, which is what we have now with the AI toolkit. There may be events that you have that will give you access into Deeper Than the Brand. We had a podcast workshop, and if you signed up for that podcast workshop, you were in Deeper Than the Brand for life, right? So there are different ways to bring people into your community. And of course, that's instantly looking at the different ways that you have it structured. There's 3 ways. There's free to paid, and then there's a paid community, right? Depending on how you have it is depending on how you market it, right? Yeah. Because if you have a free community, you could put that in everything, right? You could go in your call to action, in your captions, at the end of your videos, you can put it in the stories. Yo, I'm doing all this inside of my community. Come to the free community. Go to the link in my bio. Go drop this word in my DMs. They'll convert quickly. Now, as you raise the price, now you have to be a little bit more strategic to show how to bring people into your community, because you may have to go give them a freebie, show them what's inside of the community, and then through email, get them to convert, right? Break down more and more through your emails. This is what is happening in Deeper Than the Brand. This is what's happening this week. Yo, we're having the book club on Wednesday. If you don't have access to it, yo, that's in the subscription. Just become a member already. But I can't necessarily do that on social media, because the second people feel like they're being sold to, they're gone. The numbers are trashed. They're scrolling already, because we've just are tired of being sold to. So that's why I say, like, you got to look at the structure that you have. You got to structure it even from a marketing side of, if I have a free community, I could blast that everywhere. I can show that everywhere, stories, all that great stuff. If I have a paid situation, I may have to get strategic with giving them something, then retargeting them, whether through the DMs, through emails, of whether it's a one-time situation or a subscription. Here is what you exactly get. I was looking at Dan Coe's university. He has a Cortex University, right? First off, we're all undercharging. We're super undercharging. I'm just letting you know. His do it yourself, his do it yourself one in that particular one, not his regular digital courses, starts over $2,000.
Wow.
Right? His work, be in the university for the whole year, $15K. Right? But I didn't find that out until I was in his email. That's not blasted everywhere, right? That's not something you put on your website. That's not something that you put on the different tiers as far as your community tiers. That's not something you do. That is an application base. They talk to you for a little bit, and then you get the email. And by the time you get the email, you've been thinking about this for a while anyways, right? So like I said, there's just different ways to go about it, to go market about it. But all in all, it's just sharing as much as you can.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, this is, I think a well-rounded discussion around the business side that you can utilize, as well as the marketing piece of community, because, as we talk about, there is more emphasis and call it momentum headed in this community space. I know Alex Hermosi in the episode call it memberships. However, which way, you look at it, that is what the space is going to require. And for those of you either in the space, thinking about getting into it, there's a lot that you can learn from people who've been in it for a while. I know for me, I have really learned so much on both a personal level and from, a leadership and business standpoint about how to do things differently just by being in the community. So I'm so grateful and appreciative of that. I remember I used to take any of the feedback so personal, right? Especially like early in my days, I used to be like, nah, I don't agree with you. And I had a conversation with Nick once, like, yo, can you believe this? This might have been like 4 years ago. Yeah. And she was like, well, you could always just say, hey, thanks for the feedback.
Right.
And I was like, and that's it? Like that, no explanation? She's like, no, that's sufficient. And I was like, wow, you know what? You're right. I don't have to get into a debate about, but all of that to say, that's just from time under pressure, being involved in the process, operating and dealing with a lot of different people when people need help in their desperate times or when they're frustrated or with whatever they're dealing with in their lives. It takes some experience to do that because, like I said, when I started this conversation, these are real people that live in a digital space, but they are definitely real people with real needs, real goals. And so sometimes we may forget that when we're just thinking of growing our business or growing our brands. And so you never want to get too far removed from that. But yeah, this was good, Nick. So I definitely appreciate the dialogue.
Yay. I could talk about community all day. So we need to run it back. We can run it back. I don't care.
I love it.
This is great because even with going into this new platform with school, I'm realizing that each platform has its own purpose, right? Like, for example, with school, it's only there for engagement. Like, it has a point system, it has a leadership. Like, the only way you can unlock stuff is if you are engaged in the community. It doesn't have nothing to do with price. Yeah. So you can't even do different tiers. It's like one price. That's it. Can't get in nothing else. And you got to engage or you won't get no content. I'm like, oh, wow. So yeah, people. Community is a very good thing. Talking about community, join the Patreon, okay? Patreon.com/Nicky and Moose. Let me put that in the chat real quick. You know what I mean? Super, super dope. We have all the after shows in there, all the audios, all the videos, all that great stuff is there. We're answering questions. If you put it in the chat, now starting in the after show, we're starting it with the questions. Shout out to Calvin. Calvin was like, yo, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I was like, why is he commenting? Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Like I got the email. I was like, oh, because we answered his question. So shout out to Calvin. But that's what we're doing in the Patreon. You ask a question, we're answering it in the after show. We're going to do, like we did next month, we're doing another behind the scenes episode inside of Patreon. So they're going to get it pretty much a whole week early of the episode. So this is how we do over here. This is how we do over here. Moose, you got anything else? You got anything else?
No, man, this was great. Yeah, we'll definitely look at a part 2 for next week. So we'll let you guys know.
Hey, so that's it. We love you. We appreciate you. Share this. Take a screenshot that you were here. Share it with everybody. You know what we're gonna say.
Peace, y'all.